everybody. Doing a drink review here today and a board game ramble. I'm doing board game ramble request. I'll just be talking about kind of my history with board games and some of my favorites that I've had over the years. The drink I'm reviewing is the Doritos Grapefruit. I was asked about this in a comment, and I was thinking pineapple, and then I saw the comment, I was like, wait, it wasn't pineapple. It's grapefruit, and I couldn't find grapefruit in the Walmarts, and then it appeared in the one here, so I grabbed it. It only came in the big bottle, so I got a cup to pour it in. Someone mentioned that a while back, and I did do the next drink review. I was like, oh yeah, pour it in a cup, or whatever, and then I forget to do it every other time after that, and then I remember again, and let's see. It smells alright. It's hard to get a read on this. I don't really know. I feel like I've had grapefruit at some point, but I can't remember the real complete taste of it. And this isn't really jarring my memory. It's not bad though. It's not bad. No, you know what? The little follow through there. I did get a little of the grapefruit. Now I'm reminded of the taste of grapefruit. It's not a strong grapefruit though to me. Taste. It's not bad though. I do like that taste. And I will give a score on that in a few minutes. You know what? Let me do it now so I don't forget. It's another kind of taste like a lighter soda, but it isn't. Yeah, more of like the follow through, the aftertaste or whatever is more grapefruit than when you first drink it. It's feels like a little bit lighter of a soda, even though it is not. 130 calories. I mean, $130 calories per 12 fluid ounces is not 33 grams of sugar. I mean, it's not. I feel like that's less calories than like a Pepsi or Cokes and stuff, maybe by like 10 or 20. Well, yeah, I think Mountain Dew might be like 170. So maybe it is a little bit of a lighter soda. I like it though. I'm going to give it an 8. I just like the taste, even though it's not like a strong grapefruit to me. I do like this taste. We'll go an 8 on the Doritos grapefruit flavor. This is another soda that I feel like you can drink on a hot summer day. It has like it's almost like mimicking like a drink you would have on a summer day, like an iced tea or a lemonade or something like that. I'll continue to drink this and then maybe drink some more from the bottle. But board game request. Rambling about. I've not played board games in a while. I think the last board game, I don't know. When we were back on Long Island, we were hanging out with the people downstairs. We played some Monopoly. That was the last. I think before that we had played some Clue together as well. And my fiance and I will randomly play Battleship. We used to play one with my fiance's dad and stepmom at the time. She had passed in 21. I played this game called Sequence. I believe it was like Teams. That was a pretty cool game, Sequence. I forget how it worked. You had to put you had the game board and you had to put like you had to get a sequence of certain things, but I'm trying to remember how you had to do it. If you had to draw a card or something, I forget. It's been a while. And growing up, it was Battleship still then too as well. Clue also. I had Clue Master Detective back in the day. It was always Monopoly Mousetrap. It was more about Mousetrap. I don't think we played often. My friends and I would just like set up the thing and then just let the trap go. Candyland, you know. Parcheesi. Used to play a lot of Parcheesi. There's stuff like Trivial Pursuit. I'm talking like more when I was like younger. There's a cool game my friends and I used to play when I was in like elementary school. And I've looked at this is probably like a year ago, somewhat recently. Because it was cool. It was a Star Wars game. It was something like, I don't know if it was Escape the Sarlacc Pit or something, but it was, you're on a skip. Like the game board was cool. It had the Sarlacc Pit monster, like, you know, it wasn't like a made thing. It was just drawn on like the cardboard. And the skiff, the skiff was on top, and that was like the game board itself. And you had the Star Wars characters on there, and I forget, you roll the dice, I forget the cards, if there was cards in there. And your character could like fall into the Sarlacc Pit, I think, and stuff. It was really cool. It was a cool game board. Let me find it on here real quickly. It should be on here. I remember really liking that game. It was cool, and I just liked the way it looked. It was cool. Like, I know now, there's a lot of like crazy board games, mystery type board games, horror board games that are very involved. Pit board game. All right, there it is. It was a Return of the Jedi thing, obviously, because that was it. All right, here it is. Battle at Sarlacc Pit. This is a picture of it. That's what it looked like. And it was cool. That's the game board and the Sarlacc Pit under there. And the skip, there's Jabba up there and stuff. It was just a really good, there are cards in there. It was a really cool game. From what I remember. Stratego was one I used to play a ton with friends. I remember playing with my mom a lot. And I remember this specific memory tied to Stratego. And I talked about this in one of my like growing up rambles or something, life rambles. My dad was a drunk, and pretty much the last night that my mom and my dad were together, we were playing Stratego. My dad came home shit-faced and like flung the Stratego board while we were playing, and you know, embarrassed himself as a drunk. And then they got divorced. I think I was 8. And I wasn't one of those person. I got maybe that speaks more about how I am. I got over pretty quickly. I was like, all right, dude, you're an asshole. See you later. I'll see you on the weekends. I was upset that night, but I got over it fairly quickly, even at that age. But Stratego's cool. You have each person sets up. You have like lieutenants, I think, and generals. You have mines or bombs, spies, and stuff like that. Stratego's a really cool game. They've made so many different versions of it, you know, with different licenses and stuff. I think there's probably a Star Wars one, Lord of the Rings, probably, you know, stuff like that. Like they did with Monopoly and a bunch of other different board games. Clue does it too now. It's like Simpsons Clue. Connect 4 was always cool. Operation, the one with the little thing. Doing the other thing, beep and beeps and stuff. You do the wrong thing or whatever. Stratego was always fun, though. I love Stratego. I'm trying to think of some other ones from when I was younger that I'll get into. The one I spent the most time with. Monopoly was always kind of classic. It's always fun to play. It starts to kind of get boring, though, regardless of how you're doing. If you're scoring all the properties and building, houses, hotels, and shit, it still starts to get, I don't know, it starts to get boring. I remember playing a lot of Sorry, too, but I can't remember, like, the point of the game. Boggle. Was Boggle the one with the... No, which one? When you hit the thing. Oh. Yahtzee. I remember Yahtzee. I'll try to, I'll get into the main one, and I played a ton. This was like early. We played this for a while. This game came out in the 90s, I think. Maybe it could have been even earlier. It's called Axis and Allies. If you know it, it's self-explanatory, right? It's a World War II game. A bunch of different little figures you get, and you're trying to take over, right? Countries and whatnot. But my friends and I used to play the shit out of this. This was like 2002, maybe 2003. This is like right before we started playing a bunch of Texas Hold'em. Texas Hold'em had been around a while, but it started to get, but like all of a sudden the World Series of Poker was on ESPN, and everybody started playing it. My friends and I included, we started playing like late 2003. But we used to play Axis and Allies, a bunch of us before that. Sometimes it'd be 2-on-1 or 2-on-2. And you take control of whatever country, Japan, Germany, on the Axis side, or England, Russia, or the U.S. Did they have any other playable countries? I don't think so. If it was just 2-on-2, someone would, the one team that was on the Ally side would just kind of jointly roll as whatever country wasn't their main one. Played it a ton. So much so that my one friend and I made a giant board of the whole globe, right? The map, but we made it bigger. And then we started making our own rules. We're like, well, paratroopers can jump out of the bombers, because we started to get bored, so we started making our own thing. Giant map. I think my friend still has it. It was huge. Put in like a little plexiglass thing. It was huge. And we kept playing for a while, and then eventually we had stopped. Even after we started playing cards, we started to still played a little bit, and then we stopped. Had a lot of fun with that game, though. It was just a really good strategy game. I do remember playing Risk as well, but I can't remember a lot of Risk. I used to have it. What else? Trying to think of other games here. There's definitely plenty more, but I can't remember a ton of them. We still have some. I used to have a bunch of my. Oh, not the new Buried Under Cliches channel. I made the older one. You could see him in the background. Some of the board games I had. Oh, here's one that I forgot about. called Torpedo Run. Another war type game, but you each had like a sub, and you had the game board, the pieces on the game board, and you had a sub, and you kept hitting with your finger to get the little, I think they were little red discs that would shoot out of the sub. You'd like get blisters on your finger from going nuts. Pretty big game board as well. You just like used to play a ton of that with my friends. Battleship was always a classic, though. It still is. It's just you set it up and you just go. You know, it's a good one-on-one game. Like I said, I know now board games are like, and some of them look so cool, but it's like I have nobody to play the games with now. You know. I did play Dungeons and Dragons once when I was younger with my cousins. We were in Florida. That's more of a that's a tabletop, but still, you know, same kind of thing. I might have played one other time back then. I don't. We were playing something. This was probably a couple of years ago. I don't know if we still have it. I can't remember what it was, but it was kind of interesting. I can't remember what it was called. But you're almost like detectives. You have to try to figure out like a murder, and you got clues and stuff. You try to figure out who did it, and like, or you know, and how. Not like the person you in your group, but you have to try to figure out. Like, just try to figure it out. I forget what it was. It was like a Blair Witch type thing. Not the same thing, but like Blair Witch, I think, had a board game that was, or like it's not even a board game. They give you like a file, and you pull out all this evidence, newspaper stuff, clippings, autopsy reports and stuff, and you gotta try to go from there, and you're like finding clues. I forget what it was called though. But that was a fun one. But I can't remember the name of it. If anybody knows, let me know. But yeah, Clue was always a classic. I always liked Clue. I wasn't never like outside of the Axis and Allies where we put a ton of time into. That was the one, like I usually didn't get like that with board games where we were like, oh, we gotta play. Like we were playing that like twice a week, and we'd start a game and kind of just leave the board out and continue another day or whatever. Because that game could take some time. Unless you just make a bunch of mistakes and get wiped out quick. I'm trying to think of anything else. I know I'm forgetting something that I had played. I remember playing Parcheesi, but I can't remember Parcheesi. You know, stuff like Hungry Hippos I had back then. Another one where you're like, are you doing that or are you doing this? I think you're doing that. That one, not this. Like I said, if you want to throw cards into this, we started playing Texas Hold'em, 7-card stud, stuff like that. Omaha, 5-card. Skip-Bo. You know, Rummy Cube is another one. That we still kind of play somewhat. My fiance will just play that. We have a thing. She takes all the... She gets rid of the boxes, so they're in bags. Big Ziploc bags, but they're in the hallway on the other side of the house is, those games there. Clue is in there. What else? Rummy Cube's in there. I think we have a sequence as well. A copy of that game. There's a Battleship. I forget what some of the other ones are. Oh, stuff like Telestrations and stuff. You play with like a bunch of people, and you got to write down what you see on the card, and then you pass it to the next person, and they have to write like you. you have to think what you're seeing. Like, you have to try to picture what the person wrote and then try to draw it. No. This is how it goes. I think this is Telestrations. The first person draws what they have on their card or something, whatever it is. The next person has to guess what that is. They write it down. Then the next person has to draw that, and so on. You kind of see how badly someone draws it, what it ends up being completely nothing what it actually was on the card originally. That's a pretty cool one. Oh, what's another? What's the other one? Oh, still play this from time to time. I forget what it's called. You put down. Oh man, what is it called? Damn it. What was it called? It was something where you list things. Like a thing comes up, you gotta list things. I can't remember what it's called. Let me try to look it up and see. You guys are probably like, this is what it is when you watch this. I don't know why I can't remember it. Let me see. God, I just cannot type on these things. It's not going to come up this way. List of board games. Yeah, that's... What is it called? Man. I forget what it's called. Damn it. Like, you get your little time. You know, a lot of these games come with a little hourglass thing. And you get like a category thing, and you gotta write down as many you think of from that category in that time. Categories. Is that what it's called? Categories? I don't know if that's what it's called. I think that might be it. But yeah, you know, it was a lot of Axis and Allies was the big one that we played a ton. Cool game too. They made a couple different ones. I think they made one in the Pacific Theater at some point, or was Axis and Allies the whole thing, or maybe it was specific to just that fighting. I don't know. But yeah, that's the most I can think of from board games. You know, like I said, some of these newer ones sound, and they're not just new, they go back at least 20 years, just seem really cool and involved. But I don't know, people, like, there's people who are super into them. They get together with friends and play them. I don't have that anymore, so I can't, you know, get together. Even when I was hanging out with people after Axis and Allies, you couldn't be like, oh yeah, we're going to play this. Everybody would get together. No, it didn't matter. But anyway, that is a Aritos grapefruit drink review. 8 out of 10 on this. Solid drink. And a gum chewing board game ramble, not board ramble. Board game ramble request here today. And thanks for checking this out.